till 11 o'clock, so we're just going to hang out, let people jump on, and then we'll start promptly at 11 for the sake of everybody's time. Okay, everybody, we have about 1 minute till we'll get started. We're going to let people jump on. Everybody's jumping on right now. So I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to join me. And I hope I can bring you some amazing value today about the future because we know all of our kids are the most important things to us. And we're here to serve them and take care and watch over them and make sure they start out in life ahead instead of behind. So today we're going to talk about giving your kids a chance. So give us about another 30, 45 seconds and we'll get started because people are still jumping in. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining. Waylon Chavez here. I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to join me in this quick little information session, masterclass about give your kids a chance. Because, like I said before, we all know our children are the most important things to us, and we want to start them off on the right path. So, this is called Give Your Kids a Chance and How College Debt is Killing the American Dream. And what we're going to go over today is I'm going to show you the numbers and specifics and how to do that, but also how to get your kids started out ahead in life versus, in debt. College is a great thing, but then when you get that bill, it's not such a great thing. So before we get into that, my name is Waylon Chavez. I've been licensed in real estate in Albuquerque since 2006. I opened my own company, ABQ Premier Properties, in 2008. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to. I'm born and raised in Albuquerque, went to school here, raised my family here, and I wanted something local where people can come to that they know there's a trusted advisor working there for them. This is not a big franchise company. So when you use us, and when we get paid, our money goes right back into the Albuquerque economy versus when you use these big franchise companies, your money's going out of state to pay for their franchise. Since 2006, I've helped hundreds of families, whether buying, selling, and investing. And I am your real estate trusted advisor. Real estate trusted advisor. And March will be um, March will be my 20th year in real estate. So I'm super excited about that. So let's get into it today. Okay, so before we get started, I want to show you this stat. 90% of millionaires are invested in real estate. As you can see here, As you can see here, 90% of millionaires invest in real estate. And then from there, it goes down from stocks, business, and other stuff. But real estate is the number one investment because you can use other people's money, the appreciation, and it's over time, it's going to be your number one um, money maker. Let me see here. So we all have kids and we all, want to get them started on the right path. So as you can see, when our kids graduate, they have a degree in one hand, but in the other hand, they have that student loan bill that's going to be due um, from now on until they pay it off. So what's actually happening is our kids are starting off in debt. It's a great thing that they get accomplished, but then in the other hand, as you can see here, it is giving them a debt that they, for the next 15 to 20 years, that's going to hinder them, that's going to make them think about it. So what I want to do is help you get out of that so that this is not your kid and this is not, what your kid ends up in, because, as parents, we want the best for our kids. And the thing about it is a lot of times we don't know this is possible. So this is why I want to teach, educate, and empower parents and people to invest in real estate and build wealth through real estate. So we one of the happiest days in our children's lives also turns into one of the most daunting days, because you have that college degree, but then you also have that student loan bill that you're going to have to pay off for the next 15 to 20 years, like I said. So let's get into the numbers. The dream without the debt. What we clearly want to start off our kids, in on the right path. So you want to have your child have the best education without starting adult life under a mountain of debt. And this masterclass introduces you to a hopeful strategy using the rental property as a college fund so you can secure their future debt free. Now, doesn't that sound amazing when your kid gets that college diploma, if they choose to? The other thing about this, too, is sometimes kids don't want to go to college, but this gives them seed money to start a business, go to trade school, whatever they want to do. It gives your child that opportunity to do it without depending on loans, debt, and other people. So college costs are soaring. College tuition has skyrocketed over the past few decades, far outpacing normal inflation and family incomes. For a four-year college costs have increased roughly 5%, 5 times since the 1980s, making it harder than ever for parents to afford a college degree for their kids. And this is just for the degree. Remind, this is not including housing, food, dorms, and stuff like that. So this is just for basic college needs. This does not include any of the extra functions our kids are going to need. So student debt is a growing burden. Student loan debt has exploded into a national crisis. Americans now owe over $1.7 trillion in student loans, affecting more than 42 million people. Many young graduates are left struggling financially with loan payments that eat into their adult lives. Like I said, 15 to 20 years, because you got to pay that back, and it's not interest free either. So you're going to have to be paying that. So I want to give you guys pause here for a moment. If you have any questions, drop your questions in the chat and I will answer them before we get to the end of the session. So there is a chat button. Drop your questions in there and I will be checking it periodically. So look, it takes decades to pay off loans. Taking on student loans often means decades of repayment. In fact, the average borrower spends about 20 years paying off the college debt, often well into their 40s. So they're getting their degrees by the time they're 25, depending on what kind of degree you're getting, in their mid to late 20s, early 20s, and that burden is still with them into their 40s. How are we supposed to start our kids out, and how are they supposed to be stress-free and start their new career with that mounting debt, on their back, on their shoulders? So that's years of delay in buying homes, starting good businesses, or saving for their children. And the other thing about it too is a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, a lot of people that get college degrees don't even get a job in the career field that they got their degree in. So you have to think about that, minus lawyers and doctors and surgeons, etc. Traditional savings isn't enough. Saving for college the conventional way is tough. Only 35% of families use a dedicated college saving plan, such as the 529 plan, with the average balance of just about $6,800, far short of what's even a public college cost. So, you know, these saving plans are meant to help you, but the thing about that is, one, it's coming out of your pocket every single month. Whereas I'm going to show you in a while, real estate, you know, you may have to come up with a down payment, but your tenants are paying that payment, and you're building wealth through real estate while having somebody else pay it. And most parents simply can't save enough by traditional means for one child, especially two or more. So take a look at this. How many kids do you have? You know, for myself, I had one child. So if I did have to save for college, you know, I would have had to focus on one. But how many parents out there have two, three, four kids? How are you expected to save for this and do this for each of your children? Do you pick your favorite? Do you give it to the first one? How does that work? And it's a real burden on families and kids these days because, you know, with all the societies definition of success is you got to go to school, you go to college, get a degree, and then get a job. But we know that's simply not true in these days. But if your child does decide to go to college, or two or three of them do, how are you going to pay for it? Are you just going to let them take the student loans out, get the burden? And in some states, like here in New Mexico, we have, you know, in-state tuition, and there's, you know, lottery scholarships and stuff like that. But that doesn't include um, a specialty degree such as, you know, a lawyer, doctor, surgeon, stuff like that. So you got to keep that in mind. And keep in mind the numbers that I'm showing you today are just for your traditional 4-year degree. So there is a better way. There has to be a better way to secure your child's education. What if instead of struggling to save cash or accept massive loans, you could invest in a home that grows in value and essentially pays for college? Imagine turning one smart purchase into your child's college fund. And we're going to start going over that now. Again, reminder, there is a chat. If you have any questions, pop your questions in the chat and I will check those before we leave today. So the plan is buy a rental home early. Number one, you want to buy a rental home when your child is little, around 0 to 5 years old. Now, if your child's older, don't hesitate. Don't freak out. This does not eliminate you. Don't get off the call. We do have options, and we take each situation case by case. So the rent from the tenants helps you cover the mortgage, and the home's value steadily rises over the years. By the time you're college age, you can sell the house or tap into its built-up value to pay for the tuition. Essentially, an asset you invested in early grows alongside your child. So the thing about it too is, even though you buy it between when your child's young, say when they turn 18 and graduate high school, that doesn't mean you sell it right then. Let them go to school for a few years. By the time they graduate, get 4 more years of that equity built up, then sell it or do a cash out refinance, whatever you may do to pay off those loans for them and get them started. So, you know, there's plenty of options here. So here's real life example and show you how it works. One family purchased, and then this is one of my clients, purchased a $250,000 rental house when their daughter was born. By the time she turned 18, the home's value had roughly doubled to about $500,000. They refinanced and pulled out $200,000 in equity to fully cover her college tuition. Their daughter graduated debt-free thanks to a single property bought years before. So think about that. On average, real estate is appreciating 3 to 5% a year, and I like to use the number 4% just to stay mediocre. But in good years, it goes 5 to 6%. In bad years, it goes 2 to 3%. But on average, 3 to 5% a year is you're gaining equity into your home. So what if my child doesn't want to go to college, like I said? Well, then your child has the money to start a business or go to trade school, whatever they choose to desire. So it doesn't necessarily need to be for college. You don't need to dismiss this idea and say, well, my kid doesn't want to go to college, so I don't need this. You know, who wouldn't want to start their kids out ahead of everybody else and give them some seed money, even partner in a business with you or whatever it may be? So let's do some comparison now, comparing your options, 529 versus rental versus loans. So a 529 college saving plan, parents contribute money regularly, often monthly, to a tax advantage education account for 18 years. For example, reaching around $200,000 college fund might require about $500 per month from birth. The money grows tax-free, but must be used for education or you pay penalties. So the caveat in that is it's your own money. You're going to have basically a car payment for the next 18 years. It is tax free, which is good. But what if your child decides not to go to college? So you can't use that money is sitting there and you can't use it for anything, because if your child decides to go to trade school or go to start their own business, they cannot use that money from the 529 college savings plan. And the thing about it too is you personally invested this money in every single month versus having a renter do it. Now, student loans, save nothing now. Instead, the child or parents borrows money to cover the college costs and may pay it back with interest. This means starting adult life with debt. An average college graduate could face 20 years of loan payments after college. The debt can cause stress and delay financial independence for your child. And nobody wants to start their child off in that, and the interest rate on student loans is astronomical. It's going to take them forever to pay it off, and maybe they might not ever pay it off if they only pay the required amount every month. It's just, think of it as a credit card. You have that 20% interest rate. If you're paying the minimum amount, you will never pay that off. So who wants to start their kids off like that? As parents, we're here to take care of our kids and start them out on the path to success. So now let's look at a rental property investment. Parents buy a $300,000 rental home early in the child's life. Renters help pay the loan, and the home's value appraises over the time. By college time, you can sell the property or use the home's value via refinancing to pay the tuition. You're essentially getting the property growth and rent to cover college, and you keep the extra value or even keep the house for income or other issues. So the thing about it is you don't have to sell it. There's this thing called the cash out refinance. So what you can do is, if that grows over time in 18 years, it's going to go 3 to 5% a year for 18 years. Your principal balance is going to go down, and you're going to have so much equity in that property that you do a cash out refinance. You have the money, you pay off the student loans or whatever debt you may have, but you still have a rental property. The renter's still paying it. You got that money essentially tax free, because when you do a cash out refinance on a rental property on a home, the benefit of real estate is that's non-taxable, so you don't have to pay taxes on any of that. There's no other investment out there like that. So that's why I wanted to start doing these educational master classes, to show and educate you on the benefits of this, and then sit with you one-on-one to assess your situation. All righty. So now we're going to get to, so take a look. I learn better visually, so I think other people do too. So take a look at this. So $300,000 rental property appreciation example over 20 years, assuming a 4% annual appreciation. So home value grows from $300,000. The mortgage paid down over, 20 years is $121,469. And your possible equity buildup is $535,867. So what does this mean? You now own a home worth about over $650,000. I'm sorry. You've paid down the mortgage significantly, which is your renters have paid it down, and you have over $535,000 in available equity. Let me remind you, that's tax free if you do a cash out refinance. Now, I want to be clear, if you do sell the home, you will have to pay capital gains taxes on it. So the only way to avoid capital gains taxes is if you're single or married and that's your primary residence. So the benefit to you would be to cash out refinance, pay off the student loan debt, keep the rental, and let it build again for another 10, 20 years, to cash out refinance again, and you avoid all taxes. There's no other investment out there that's going to get this for you and for your families. And say you're older, maybe you don't even have kids. If you want to do this for yourself, as a retirement plan, we can help you do that. Yes, you're going to have to come in with a down payment, but we have ways to get around it. A lot of people don't know they can use their 401ks, their IRAs, and other retirement accounts to invest in real estate and not be penalized for it. But, the thing about this is you come out with a down payment, your renter pays it over 18 to 20 years, your balance goes down because of your renter, your equity goes up, and you and your kids benefit from tax-free cash out refinances. So just imagine this, on an equity buildup, if you had $535,000 in equity, you could take out 80% of that in a cash out refinance, tax-free, pay off your student loans, pay off whatever you wanted to, and that is tax-free to you. So why does the strategy make sense? A rental property lets you use rent from tenants to build your child's college fund instead of relying solely on your own savings. Like we said earlier in the 529 plan or any savings, it's going to be basically you're going to have a car payment for the next 20 years. And what are you going to do if you have 2 and 3 kids? So, like I said earlier, does your first kid get it? Does your favorite kid get it? How does that work? With real estate, you can buy multiple properties and do this multiple times. There's no limit on it. Um, Real estate also tends to gain value over time. Historically, like I said, about 3 to 5% a year on average. So your investment grows. Unlike a 529 plan, a house can't use it or lose it for education. If your child gets a scholarship, plans change. You still own a valuable asset that can benefit your family in other ways. Remember, when you have these 529 plans, if your kid decides not to go to college, you can't use that money, or you're going to pay a heavy penalty on that to get it out. So that's, why do that when you have real estate and you have somebody else paying it for you? Do you want a car payment for the next, or if think about this, if you have 2 or 3 kids, do you want 3 car payments a month for the next 20 years? You're going to be putting $1,500 to $2,000 a month to get $200,000 that can only be used for education. And like this says, what if your kid gets a full ride scholarship? Or what if they decide just to start a business out of college? You've wasted all that money and you're going to pay a heavy penalty on it. So imagine this, your child graduating debt free. Picture the payoff. Your child walks across the graduation stage debt free. You know what you did 15 to 20 years ago is going to pay off. No crushing loan payments await them. Just a young adult free to start their life on solid ground. They can begin a career, save for a home, or pursue their dreams without any weight of student debt. This is the gift you can give by planning ahead. It's a priceless feeling for both parents and child. And as a parent myself, this is the best thing that we could do for our kids. And I know some people that are on that have an investment property that are already doing this. So you're ahead of the game, but it's never too late. The biggest question we get is, like the old saying, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago? Well, when's the next best time? Right now. The same thing with the house or investment property. When's the best time to buy? 20 years ago. But when's the next best time? Right now. So let's chat about that. So in conclusion, I want to give you a hopeful, doable plan. The strategy is both smart and achievable for many families. With some planning and the courage to try something different, you can turn a modest home purchase into the greatest gift, a future where your child doesn't be burdened by student loans. It's a hopeful path that lets you take control of rising college costs and set your child up for success. It's truly a win-win for yours and your financial future. Again, take a look at this. I don't want to share this with you because I just think it's great. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to put my link in the chat. Go to the chat, set up a free 15-minute Zoom call with me. And what we do is this is not a one-size-fits all. So what I want to offer you is a free 15-minute Zoom call with myself to talk to you, answer your questions, assess your situation. And if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. But let me get this link, and I'm going to drop it in the chat. Alrighty. So follow that link that's in the chat, set up your free 15-minute Zoom call, and I can talk to you about your specific situation. Because it's not, like I said, this is not one size fits all. This is what we're going to do to tailor and customize towards your specific situation. And not everybody's the same. So again, you buy a $300,000 home in 18 to 20 years on 4% appreciation, that home is going to be worth about $657,000. You're going to build up about $121,000 of equity just through that, but it's going to be more like $535,000 in equity, as you can see on there, because you're going to pay down the mortgage so much. And I want to thank you all for joining me. That's it for today's masterclass. Like what I said is I want to make it straight to the point. I want to give you valuable information. I don't want to add fluff. I don't want to, show unrealistic expectations. So for today, that's going to be it. But go in the chat, sign up for a 15-minute call, and I look forward to talking to you. Also, if you're on Facebook or social media, follow me. Share this with somebody. Share it with family, friends, coworkers, because everybody needs to have something like this, because we all have kids. Majority of people have kids. So let's start them off on the right path. And I'm going to ask for your help in this. So thank you for joining me today, and have a blessed day, everybody.